Hey there, I'm Jess Byrnes. Welcome to the Jess Byrnes Show. This is where ambition meets alignment. I'm a VA coach, business strategist, and freedom mentor, and I help service-based women unleash their power, scale beyond booked out, and step into their CEO era. Expect real talk, practical strategies, and inspiring conversations with women who've built businesses on their terms. If you're ready to create more freedom, more income, and more impact, this is the space for you.
All right. So, hello everyone. My name's Jess Byrnes, if we haven't met yet, and I'm the owner of Totally Unleashed, and I am your six-figure VA coach. And my role really is to help you start or scale your VA business. Now, VA business, Beck and I were just talking briefly. VA can mean a lot of different things. It's not really a one-size-fits-all, which has really sparked this series for me, which is around, a day in the life, or what do you do as a VA for a myriad of different skills. We've had so many different ladies come through Freedom Unlocked, and everyone does different things. So I thought, well, what a great way to really promote and share all the different opportunities that come along with having a VA business. So this is lovely Beck. Beck and I have known each other for about 18 months now. It's
flown.
It's flown, right? Like time is just flying by. And I'm not going to take too much of the spotlight, but Beck is going to share a little bit around her background, and then we'll kind of tap into what her VA business, like what starting that VA businesses look like, and then a day in the life, as I said, to kind of give a little bit of insight to what's possible as a VA. And VA is such a loose term in itself, whether you call yourself a VA, a consultant, a coach, you can call yourself anything. You could be the Cheshire Cat for all I care. It doesn't really matter what you call yourself, as long as the person you're selling it to understands exactly what you do and how you do it. But there's so many different opportunities here, and I'm really excited to be talking to Beck today about all the things. So maybe we kick off, Beck, with a little bit of your background and your experience, and like what you've been doing in your career.
Amazing. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Beck Carters, and I'm the owner and founder of Virtual L&D Consulting. So I spent just over 22 years in the media and advertising industry in the corporate world with News Corp Australia, and I moved around in that business, over the years into different roles, moved into leadership and management, but realized that my passion and what I really loved was helping people. I loved helping, all the new starters come on board and help them, to just feel welcomed and part of the team, and, really help them to succeed in their role. And then that led me into learning and development in human resources. And that was what I stayed in, for the last 10 years with the company. That was really my passion. And it was also where I learned a lot from, being in the corporate world with News Corp. They're really great at actually, training up their people, upskilling them and programs and all that sort of stuff. So and obviously there was a lot of people I learned from within that business as well. So that is where I got a lot of my expertise from, was from a lot of my colleagues that, I worked alongside within corporate. So now I'm an expert in, course creation and L&D, which is learning and development. So yeah, I guess that's a little bit about the background.
Yeah, awesome. And I'd love to just tap into a little bit about like how you kind of found VA life. So, that transition, and obviously finishing up with News Corp, which was quite unexpected in its own way. And then how it kind of, the VA world presented itself, because I'm a big believer in the universe sharing, and I know we're on the same wavelength with this. So the universe kind of went, oh, Beck, what about this? So I thought maybe we'd just touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so actually for a couple of years, I'd always been thinking about starting or going freelance and becoming like a freelance instructional designer. And I guess what always held me back was the not having that reliable, stable sort of like weekly income that obviously the corporate job provided. But after COVID, just like every kind of like big business out there, News Corp was impacted, made changes, and my role was actually made redundant. So in a way, it wasn't a surprise as such, but when it did happen, it was still a bit of a shock, and it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do for the rest of my life when it comes to income? But what I really realized is that it was a bittersweet moment. I lost a stable income, but what I gained was an opportunity to do what I have always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be my own boss, work my own hours, work from home. And, at that point, that's when I kind of like started, because I had that idea of the freelancing, but I didn't know how to start it. So I started Googling, and when I started going online and on Facebook, I found a lot of ladies started doing this VA business. And I didn't even know what a VA was then. It was something that I just kind of like learned about. And that was when I realized that I actually have a lot of skills to offer. So that's kind of when I started on my VA journey.
Yeah, awesome. And so we've kind of touched a little bit on, what it looks like for you, but I'd love to kind of look a little bit deeper as to, day in the life, as I kind of touched on earlier. What does a day in the life look like for you as a course content VA or an L&D VA?
Yeah, so it's very mixed. Obviously depends on the client's needs. Like I obviously tailor all of my work to my clients, but essentially it's, taking all of the clients' notes and their ideas and documents, whether it's, like it could even be written documents that they kind of take photos of and send through to me, but essentially just pulling it all together into like a course outline for them. And depending on what they're actually wanting, I can provide services that creates and builds the course from scratch. So that includes, creating the actual course outline, facilitator guides, videos, training videos, all the exercises, the surveys, the workbooks, email campaigns, all of that kind of stuff. And then if they do want to have an online course, it's uploading the course to an online course platform and getting that all set up and ready for them to launch. And then even after they've actually launched the course, they might not have the time to be able to keep it running or onboard all the new starters or new enrollments coming in. So I can do, managing the enrollments and the learner progress and the feedback and, pulling all the data and reports and also just be there to be support and help the learners as well.
Yeah, awesome. And I know you've got a number of clients now that you do that for, and we talk a couple of times a week regularly in six-figure frequency, and you're effectively booked out at the moment, but there's a few different options of still being able to work with you, which is really exciting. But how does it feel now? Because obviously there was some fear around that stable income and that security and all the things too. Now you're like, Jess, I don't know where I'm even going to fit things in at the moment. Like, it's all a bit crazy.
Yeah, look, it was that fear, right? That fear was the thing that was stopping me for a long time. So all I can say to people out there is, sometimes you just have to have, and I know this sounds so cliche, you just have to have faith and take that leap and get into that, uncomfortable zone and get out of your comfort zone. And what I found, and this is where, you might ask me this question later, Jess, but this is where I found Freedom Unlocked in the six-figure frequency so helpful for me, because I had set up my business and website sort of previously before joining, and I thought that I had it all and, everything was all sweet, and all I needed was to, have help finding clients. But when I joined, especially Freedom Unlocked to start with, I learned so much more than I expected, and also just getting validation of the stuff that I have done and how to improve it and all of that. But what it also did was really helped me niche down, and that's what you talked about at the beginning. Like, I've got so many skills that I could offer when I was thinking about doing a VA business, but the course helped me to be able to niche down and find what my passion was. which is course creation. So I'm a course creation VA, and there's so many other different VAs, as you said, out there. That's my true expertise, though. So that's what I'm following my footsteps with. And then moving into the six-figure frequency program, even more so, to just have that motivation, that kick up the butt when you need it, and just having that container and space for support and questions is just, it's so needed, especially when you are a solo business owner, you've got nobody else. And it has absolutely been a game changer for me. So, yeah.
And I think too, a lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people think, oh, you set everything up and it's done and you're good and that's it. But I've watched you grow from day one, even, up to our last call earlier in the week. Like, things are constantly changing and evolving, and different people come to you with different questions. And we've had the conversation a few times where it's like, let's just revisit some of the things that we've done and reiterate. Because Freedom Unlocked isn't, Freedom Unlocked and six-figure frequency, it's not just about strategy. Like, I do bring in a few different elements of energy and strategy and mindset, and we do all the things, whatever you need, really, we do it. And so much so, most recently, when we were talking about like how easy it is for our mind to run away and create this whole story, which isn't even true, but we fall into this trap. And we went through this whole process about 3 weeks ago, and we reset your intentions, and
got a client next day.
like your biggest client basically signing up, so it's been a pleasure watching you grow your business. And it's just really interesting to see, like, even at the end of Freedom Unlocked, then coming into six-figure frequency, watching you niche even further, because we were really broad and you were offering all sorts of stuff, including video editing and like everything you could think of. And then really went in and you were like, I actually love doing the participant guides and the presentations and the all these things that are really hands-on and helping people build their course from scratch and bringing it to life and almost taking the fear from them. Like, that's what you get to do, which is really awesome. And hearing you every week come and share the feedback that your clients are experiencing from working with you is so exciting.
It's good.
It's so good. So I guess if someone's sitting on the fence kind of going, I don't know if this VA life thing is for me, or is scared of the security and all the things, like, I mean, it's okay for me to say it, but I guess for someone who's going through it recently, do you feel like there's enough work out there for more VAs? Like, is there?
Absolutely. And I guess that's where the niching is so important, because you can, there's obviously a lot of like general VAs out there that can do, a lot of all the general admin and stuff, which is absolutely needed. But when it comes to the niching, and then like I don't see that many course creation VAs kind of like out there as such. I mean, I know they're there, but so and in that self, that makes it you're needed more, you're more valuable. You could put your pricing and your packages can then equate to your worth and your value. And absolutely, I think it was, I'm not going to lie, it was scary, the step from leaving corporate to and I wouldn't, and I don't think I would have done it without the redundancy. Like, that was the push for me as well. Which is, I look back and I think is so sad, because if I think if I hadn't have been made redundant, I probably would still be in that corporate job and not happy. And and I'm loving my business and my work and my life, and just working from home. Like, I get to drop my kids off to school, pick them up, and work around, go out and in the backyard with the doggies at lunchtime. And it's just I absolutely say to anyone out there, you've just got to give it a go, and give it your all, give it a go, and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and I think too, on that, I mean, not everyone is, privileged to be in a position of having a redundancy. So you don't have to throw caution to the wind and, go, right, I'm going to give up my job and tackle it. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. You can take steps, the workload to get things started is not a huge amount to really just test the waters and see where you're at. But it's, if you don't try, you'll never get there. So awesome. Well, I have loved talking with you today. And if people want to connect with you and find you online, where can they find you?
So my website is virtualldconsulting.com. I also have a Facebook page and Instagram, which is both those. So you can
come on over,
contact me there.
Awesome. And if anyone is interested in Booked Out Boardroom or not Booked Out Boardroom, Freedom Unlocked, I've just changed the name. So Freedom Unlocked or Six Figure Frequency, what I'll do is I'll pop a link in the comments or in the show notes, and we can book a call and have a chat. There's no obligation, and just see what feels good. And Beck will attest to this. Like, I call a spade a spade. I'm not going to tell you come on in if you're not ready. If I think, you need a bit of homework, or there's some work that needs to be done, or something needs to happen beforehand, then I'll tell you to go away and do it before you come back. But if I think you're ready, like, I'll also give you that push and that loving butt kick that you might need as well, and go, all right, well, let's just get on with it. I would love to have a chat to anyone who might still be in this space, and make sure you go give Beck a follow and share the love and support, because she's one hell of a VA. Thank you so much for jumping on.
No, that's okay. And just before you go, I know I've said this to you before, but I want to say this to everyone out there, that I wouldn't be here in my role in my business without Jess and without this program. So I absolutely 110% recommend it. Because it got me to where I am today, and I know she can get so many others out there too.
Oh, thank you, lovely. I already told you I'm very emotional today, so you're going to make me cry. I mean, I think you made me cry every time you told me that, but I really appreciate that. And it's, it's something that I'm really passionate about. And I think for a lot of people, when they're starting their business, whether it's VA or whether you're opening a restaurant, like, you do it because you love it and you want to help people. And I've said it time and time again, like, if I won the lotto, I would do this. I would still do this. It wouldn't stop me from what I'm doing, because I love what I do, and I love seeing people like you grow and morph and change. And I'm so excited to see where this goes and what's next for you, because you're just killing it every step of the way. So awesome. Thanks, lovely.
No worries. Bye.
See you soon.